cooking surface is in direct contact with the flame from the stove, it allows the food to be cooked. This is called as heat conduction. Conduction is probably the most basic and intuitive way of achieving heat transfer. Conduction is the process of heat being transferred between objects through direct contact. In cooking an egg, for example, the flame from the stove will conduct heat energy to the bottom of a pan sitting on top of it. From there, the pan conducts heat to its content. During conduction, the matter itself do not flow. Rather, heat is transferred by vibrations of atoms. This transfer occurs at the molecular level from one body to another when heat energy is absorbed by a surface and causes the molecules of that surface to move more quickly. In the process, they bump into their neighbors and transfer the energy to them and continue as long as heat is still being added. The process of heat conduction depends on four basic factors: the temperature gradient, the cross-section of the materials involved, their path length, and the properties of those materials. A temperature gradient is a physical quantity that describes in which direction and at what rate the temperature changes in a specific location. Temperature always flows from the hottest to the coldest source due to the fact that cold is nothing but the absence of heat energy. This transfer between bodies continues until the temperature difference decays and a state known as thermal equilibrium occurs. Cross-section and path length are also important factors. The greater the size of the material involved in the transfer, the more heat is needed to warm it. Also, the more surface area that is exposed to open air, the greater likelihood for heat loss. So, shorter objects with a smaller cross-section are the best means of minimizing the loss of heat energy. Lastly, the physical properties of the materials involved. Basically, when it comes to conducting heat, not all substances are created equally. Heat conduction in solids is the result of vibrations of the solid lattice and of the motion of free electrons in the material. In metals, where free electrons are plentiful, thermal energy transport by electrons predominates. As a result, they can speedily transfer heat. On the other side, materials like wood, paper, air, and cloth are poor conductors of heat. They are also known as heat insulators that prevents heat from moving from one place to another.
Convection is transfer of heat due to the bulk movement of molecules within fluids such as gases and liquids. When heat is introduced, the fluids becomes high in temperature. The hot air is released from the pot and the cold air comes from the atmosphere. The cycle of fluids starts when the fluids become hot and rise up and become cold. When fluids turns cold, it will go down back to the source of heat to become hotter. Before the water boils, raisins stay at the bottom of the pot. When the water starts to boil, water will move in a cycle where the cooler water will go down and hotter water will rise up. As shown in the video, raisins move in the cycle due to the convection of water.
The term radiation refers to energy that passes through space or matter in the form of energetic waves or particles. As radiation happens, the waves travel away from the energy producer in all directions. Radiation may be ionizing, meaning that it has the ability to change or non-ionize the ions of an atom, in which it does not possess that ability. Radiation occurs when microwaves, infrared radiation, visible light, or another form of electromagnetic radiation is emitted or absorbed. Heat can be transferred without any physical contact. It does not require material and can occur in space. For example, the field of heat from fire pit. Radiation in food process. Food irradiation is a form of food processing that can extend shelf life and reduce spoilage. Food are exposed to radiation to kill insects, moths, and microorganisms, but no detectable levels of radiation are left behind in the food. During this procedure, the food is exposed to doses of ionizing energy or radiation. At low doses, radiation extends a product's shelf life. At high doses, this process kills insects, moths, bacteria, and other potentially harmful microorganisms. Next, how does food irradiation work?
A box of spices, for example, arrives at an irradiation facility. It's loaded onto a conveyor. The conveyor moves the box into the irradiation chamber and past the source of radiation. The box spends a designated amount of time exposed to the radiation. The energy travels through the box to kill microorganisms inside, then moved out of the chamber. The box and its contents are safe to handle immediately and labeled with the Radura symbol, the international symbol indicating treatment by radiation. The box is loaded into a truck for delivery to grocery stores.